day, afternoon, evening, or night, everybody. My name is Ragnvaldr Andrewson, and welcome to my narration of the Hávamál. The Hávamál, or Words of the High One, is a Norse poem taken from the Poetic Edda. It is said to be words and advice from Óðinn himself, Óðinn Borson, father to all Aesir. Now, the Hávamál is seen as a book of advice. At least the first 79 stanzas are based around advice to the layman. So I'll be reading the first 79 stanzas to begin with. Later stanzas go on to talk about Óðinn's sacrifice in order to gain the power of the runes. Now, as I've mentioned before, I have a separate rune series on a different channel. I'm in collaboration with someone called Old Norse Paganism. Please check out the YouTube channel. But, and until then, or until you check that out, watch to the end of this video and learn a bit about wisdom and about morals. And you may decide you want to take some of this advice on for yourself. It's fairly generic and doesn't, have you do anything out of your way. It's not like you make promises. It's just things to live by. So, we start. This is the narration by Óðinn Taylor from 1969. The man who stands at a strange threshold should be cautious before he cross it. Glance this way and that. Who knows beforehand what foes may sit awaiting him in the hall? Greetings to the host. The guest has arrived. In which seat shall he sit? Rash is he who at unknown doors relies on his good luck. Fire is needed by the newcomer, whose knees are frozen numb. Meat and clean linen a man needs, who has fared across the fells. Water too, that he may wash before eating. Handcloths and a hearty welcome. Courteous words, then courteous silence, that he may tell his tale. Who travels widely needs wits about him. The stupid should stay at home. The ignorant man is often laughed at when he sits at meat with the sage. Of his knowledge a man should never boast, rather be sparing of speech. When to his house a wiser comes, seldom do those who are silent make mistakes. Mother wit is ever a faithful friend. A guest should be courteous when he comes to the table, and sit in wary silence, his ears attentive, his eyes alert, so he protects himself. Blessed is he who in his own lifetime is awarded praise and wit, for ill counsel is often given by mortal men to each other. Fortunate is he who is favoured in his lifetime with praise and words of wisdom. Evil counsel is often given by those of evil heart. Better gear than good sense a traveller cannot carry. Better than riches for a wretched man far from his own home. Better gear than good sense a traveller cannot carry. A more tedious burden than too much drink a traveller cannot carry. Less good than belief would have it is meed for the sons of men. A man knows less the more he drinks, becomes a befuddled fool. I forget is the name men give the heron who hovers over the feast. Fettered I was in his feathers that night, when a guest in Gunnlod's court. Drunk I got, dead drunk, when Fjalar the wise was with me. Best is the banquet one looks back on after, and remembers all that happened. Silence becomes the son of a prince, to be silent but brave in battle. It befits a man to be merry and glad, until the day of his death. The The coward believes he will live forever, if he holds back in the battle. But in old age he shall have no peace, those spears have spared his limbs. When he meets friends, the fool gapes, is shy and sheepish at first. Then he sips his mead immediately. All know of what an oath he is. He who has seen and suffered much, and knows the ways of the world, who has travelled, can tell what spirit governs the men he meets. Drink your mead, but in moderation. Talk sense or be silent. No man is called discourteous who goes to bed at an early hour. A gluttonous man who guzzles away brings sorrow on himself. At the table of the wise he is often taunted, mocked for his bloated belly. The herd know its homing time, and leave the grazing ground. But the glutton never knows how much his belly is able to hold. An ill-tempered, unhappy man ridicules all he hears, makes fun of others, refusing always to see the faults in himself. Foolish is he who frets at night and lies awake to worry. A weary man, when morning comes, he finds all as bad as before. The fool thinks that those who laugh at him are all his friends, unaware when he sits with wiser men how ill they speak of him. The fool thinks that those who laugh at him are all his friends. When he comes to the thing and calls for support, few spokesmen he finds. The fool who fancies he is full of wisdom while he sits by his hearth at home, quickly finds when questioned by others that he knows nothing at all. The ignorant booby had best be silent when he moves among other men. No one will know what a nitwit he is until he begins to talk. No one will know less what a nitwit he is than the man who talks too much. To ask well, to answer rightly, are the marks of a wise man. Men must speak of men's deeds. What happens may not be hidden. Wise is he, not who is never silent, mouthing meaningless words. A glib tongue that goes on chattering sings to its own harm. A man among friends should not mock each other. Many believe the man who is not questioned to know much, and so he escapes their scorn. The wise guest has his way of dealing with those who taunt him at the table. He smiles through the meal, not seeming to hear the twaddle talked by his foes. The fastest friends may fall out when they sit at the banquet board. It is and shall be a shameful thing when guest quarrels with the guest. An early meal a man should take before he visits friends, lest when he gets there he go hungry, afraid to ask for food. To a false friend the footpath winds, though his house be on the highway. To a sure friend there is a shortcut, though he lives a long way off. The tactful guest will take his leave early, not linger long. He starts to sink, who outstays his welcome in a hall that is not his own. A small hut of one's own is better. A man is a master at home. A couple of goats and a corded roof still are better than begging. A small hut of one's own is better. A man is a master at home. His heart bleeds in the beggar who must ask for meal, for meat. A wayfarer should not walk unharmed, but have his weapons to hand. He knows not when he may need a spear. A gift in return for a gift. No man so rich that it really gives him pain to be repaid. Once he has won wealth enough, a man should not crave for more. What he saves for friends, foes may take. Hopes are often liars. With presents friends should please each other, with a shield or a costly coat. Mutual giving makes a friendship, so long as life goes well. A man should be loyal through life to his friends, and return gift for gift. Laugh when they laugh, but with lies repay a false foe who lies. A man should be loyal through life to friends, to them and to the friends of theirs. But never shall a man make offer of friendship to his foes. If you find a friend you fully trust, and wish for his goodwill, exchange thoughts, exchange gifts, go often to his house. But if you deal with another you don't trust, but wish for his goodwill, be fair in speech, but false in thought, and give him lie for lie. Even with one you ill trust, and doubt what he means to do, false words with fair smiles may get you the gift you desire. Young and alone on a long road, once I lost my way. Rich I felt when I found another, man rejoices in man. The generous and bold have the best lives, are seldom beset by cares. But the base man sees bogies everywhere, and the miser pines for presents. 2 wooden stakes stood on the plain, on one I hung my clothes. Draped in linen, they all looked well born, but naked I was a nobody. The young fir that falls and rots, having neither needles nor bark, so is the fate of the friendless man. Why should he live long? Hotter than fire among false hearts burns friendship for 5 days, but suddenly slackens when the 6th dawns, feeble their friendship then. A kind word need not cost much, the price of praise can be cheap. With half a loaf and an empty cup, I found myself a friend. Little a sad grain, little a dewdrop, little the minds of men. All men are not equal in wisdom, the half-wise are everywhere. It is best for man to be middle-wise, not over-cunning and clever. The learned man whose lore is deep is seldom happy at heart. It is best for man to be middle-wise, not over-cunning and clever. The fairest life is led by those who are deft at all they do. It is best for man to be middle-wise, not over-cunning or clever. No man is able to know his future, so let him sleep in peace. Brand kindles till they brown out. Flame is quickened by flame. One man from another is known by his speech, the simpleton by his silence. Early shall he rise who has designs on another's land or life. His prey escapes the prone wolf, the sleeper is seldom victorious. Early shall he rise who rules few servants, and set to work at once. Much is lost by the late sleeper, wealth is won by the swift. A man should know how many logs and strips of bark from the birch to stock in autumn, that he may have enough wood for his winter fires. Washed and fed, one may fare to the thing, though one's clothes be the worse for wear. None need be ashamed of his shoes or hose, nor of the horse he owns, although no thoroughbred. As the eagle who comes to the ocean shore sniffs and hangs her head, dumbfounded is he who finds at the thing no supporters to plead his case. It is safe to tell a secret to one, risky to tell it to 2. To tell it to 3 is thoughtless folly, everyone will know. Moderate at counsel should a man be, not brutal and overbearing. Among the bold, the bully will find others as bold as he. Often words uttered to another have reaped an ill harvest. Too early to many homes I came, too late it seemed to some. The ale was finished or else unbrewed, the unpopular cannot please. Some would invite me to visit their homes, but none thought I had eaten a whole joint just before with a friend who had two. These things are thought the best: fire, the sight of the sun, good health with the gift to keep it, and a life that avoids vice. Not all sick men are utterly wretched. Some are blessed with sons, some with friends, some with riches, some with worthy works. It is always better to be alive. The living can keep a cow. Fire I saw warming a wealthy man with a cold corpse at his door. The halt can manage a horse, the handless a flock. The deaf be a doughty fighter. To be blind is better than to burn on a pyre. There is nothing the dead can do. A son is a blessing, though born late, to a father no longer alive. Stones would seldom stand by the highway if sons did not set them there. Two beat one, the tongue is head's bane, pocket of fur-hide fists. He welcomes the night who has enough provisions. Short are the sails of a ship, dangerous the dark in autumn. The winds may veer within 5 days, and many times in a month. The half-wit does not know what gold makes apes of many men. One is rich, one is poor. There is no blame in that. Cattle die, kindred die. Every man is mortal. But the good name never dies of one who has done well. Cattle die, kindred die. Every man is mortal. But I know of one thing that never dies, the glory of the great dead. Fields and flocks had Fithung's sons, who now carry begging bowls. Wealth may vanish in the wink of an eye. Gold is the falsest of friends. In the fool who acquires cattle and lands, or wins a woman's love, his wisdom wanes with his waxing pride. He sinks from sense to conceit. That is stanzas 1 through 79 of the Hávamál, also pronounced Hávamál, depending on how late you are in timings of translations. But I hope you enjoyed that. It was certainly fun to read and interesting to read. I feel I take more information in when reading something out loud as opposed to just reading it. And I hope you can take more in from listening to it than you can just from reading it. Now, thank you very much for watching and listening. I will be sure to post the next part of this fairly soon. I will narrate the next stanzas of the next section of the Hávamál. But until then, I will see you guys soon.